Oh, that was the first thing on camera. All right, so the language arts 8th grade PLC with Miss Chalker, Miss Calder, and Miss Austin, and Olivia, and Mr. Lala have decided to set out a challenge. Our challenge is to share the best practices you're finding in your PLC to see if we can use them in a cross-curricular way. Today I'm going to model something with selective highlighting and coloring so that students can identify parts within something they're reading. It can be within their writing or it can be within their reading. We encourage you to show us something you're doing to see if we can include it inside our class. So, teacher mode. What I have here is I have an essay that, as a teacher, I've got an essay that is a good example of a student essay that I had based on my last essay. A good thing we always find is to revisit work we've done so that kids all have a common understanding of what they're seeing. What I'm going to try to have my pretend students do is I'm going to try to have them see if they can find the necessary elements within a paragraph so that they can identify it in another piece of work and then see if they can identify it within their own piece of work. So kids, can I get a reader? Olivia, you've been so good lately. Can you read this for me?
Of course.
Thank you, Olivia.
To start off, extracurricular activities are beneficial because they boost student stress and time management. According to the article, The Importance of Extracurricular Activities for Teens, it says that after-school activities enhance students' management of time and stress. I myself do a lot of extracurricular activities, of which I have to juggle on a day-to-day basis. Constantly having to get something done on a day-to-day basis has made me more calm in situations where other students would be freaking out due to the amount of work a teacher has given us. This juggling of activities has also meant that in order to finish everything on time, I have to manage my time very wisely. This is one of the reasons that I am able to have everything done by the time others need it to be done. These skills have helped me to keep up in all A report card.
Very nice, Olivia. I'm going to resurrect the Falcon Dollar system and give you one. Thank you. All right, so guys, what we have here is we have a typical paragraph that's built around the way that we try to formulate paragraphs. No matter what you want to call it, if you want to call it essential message, author's intent, if you want to call it main idea, whatever you want to call it, it's an important thing to be able to locate what the parts of the paragraph are. And if they can do this in their writing, they can also do it when they're reading stuff, and it helps kind of decode what's in the paragraph. So the first thing, does anybody see any high-lows with this? Any good things, bad things about what was just read to you? Ms. Calder.
Textual evidence, according to the article.
Okay, they've done a good job of citing their textual evidence.
Yes.
Anyone else?
They brought a tie-in, they brought themselves into it.
They brought a tie-in, they brought themselves into it. Thank you, Ms. Chalker. Ms. Calder?
Cause and effect, showing that being able to manage time and stress results in an all-A report card.
All right, very nice. And something I know I see specifically is I think the bridge sentences are good. If you notice that after they've stated different things, she says, I myself do a lot of extracurricular activities and have to juggle them on a day-to-day basis. And something I can tell you based on class is the word juggle was in our last essay, the last articles we had to read for our last prompt, and I took the time out to talk about the word juggle, and she used the word juggle within her essay, and I thought that was like a really good job of taking something she used, really absorbing it, and saying, hey, how can I recycle this in my own writing? Okay. So, with that said, we know there are essential parts of a paragraph. The first thing we've got to do is we've got to know what the paragraph's about. Does anybody know what the essential message or main idea of this paragraph is?
They boost student stress and management.
I'm sorry, Miss Austin. Can you put your hand up? Oh, okay. Thank you, Miss Austin. See, that's very nice. Keep what were you saying?
So the main idea of the essential message would be the fact that extracurricular activities boost student stress and time management.
All right, boost stress and time management. So if I'm having my students highlight, I can use color coding to show how to find different parts of it within something. So I may have them change this to green. And that green color kind of is an example of go, and you can't go in a paragraph before you've got a reason for what it's about. So if we use the green, it gives us an example of our go. Can anybody tell me what the textual evidence is of the paragraph? Ms. Chalker.
According to the article, the importance of extracurricular activities for teens, it says that after-school activities enhance student management of time and stress.
All right. So you're exactly right, Ms. Chalker. That is an example of textual evidence. So maybe I have them color this. Yellow might be hard to see, so orange is close enough to yellow. So I've got my textual evidence now in another color. So based on color now, we can see two parts of the paragraph. Does anybody know where the explanation begins, where she starts with her proof of what her claim is, her way of proving her claim? Olivia. Kidding.
I think constantly having to get something done on a day-to-day basis is making me more calm in situations where other students would be freaking out due to the amount of work a teacher.
All right, and we can ... it, and you thank you for reading that as much as you did. You're exactly right. So now you see I've got the explanation color coded, and if you look, this kind of simulates the colors of a stoplight. It's an inverted stoplight, but it goes from go to stop, and it acts as a color code, and it also acts as a way for them to highlight and make sure there are no missing parts. So now that I've modeled this, what I would want my kids to do is I'd want them to be able to look at their own work,
Right.
or they could look at someone else's work and either use it. Let's say you don't have computers. I want my kids to take their highlighters, and I want you to look at the very first body paragraph of your essay. And in the first body paragraph, I want to see if you can find your green. What's our green again?
The main idea or essential
The
message.
essential message, main idea.
Like
So
the
see if
topic
you can
sentence, right? Do
find.
you also call that a topic
You can
sentence?
call it a topic
Yeah.
sentence too. It's whatever language you want to use to make your kids be able to remember. I call it essential message. Some people call it main idea. Some people say potato. Some people say potato. So we know we're okay. So you see my kids, I've got a struggling student here. Sorry, Ms. Chalker. Kid. I've got an advanced student, and then I've got a middle student, and everybody's working at their own pace. Maybe we're in a collaborative group, maybe they're looking at what they've done, maybe they're working on their own, maybe they're doing this as peer review. But it's a way to use colors to kind of show what you've got within your class and have kids look at each other's work. It's also a good idea for breaking down something they're reading. Maybe they need to look at different elements within something. Maybe they need to look at, maybe they're looking for verbs, adjectives. Make it grammar if you need to.
Okay.
So as you see here, I've got what I modeled. Here is actually the students' version when they did this
A
themselves.
student did this themselves.
So what they did is they went through and color coded their own work, and you see
Okay.
the color coding matches what we did.
Right.
But also what I had them do is I had them go through and underline any verbs and adjectives. And when they underlined the verbs and adjectives, they then took those words and tried to change them. And if they did change them, they underlined them, and it showed me, as far as word choice goes, any words they took the time out to make an extra effort with. This was something I did dead last.
So you can prove that they're revising.
So that it's the very last thing, and it's one of those like, this is just a bonus thing, you know? Like, think of word choice as bonus.
Right.
So
That's how you get from a
get the meat and
eight
potatoes
to a
done,
9 or
right,
7.
and then we'll worry about the condiments.
Okay.
But either way, the color coding should help you see that you can do it within your work, you can do it within other people's work, you can do it whether you have computers or if you just have highlighters. If you want to take a given reading passage, you can do it with this and have them abstract the information from a piece of text, Or you can do it within a text that they've written and it helps them identify what they've done.